Hello students. Today we'll begin with the grammar chapter number 5, that is verbs infinitives. Now what are verbs infinitives? You have read it in class 7th also. The words that express an action or tell us what a person is, was, does, did or has had. They are called verbs. Now to begin with, the first topic that we are going to take is transitive and intransitive verbs. You have read this topic in class 7th also, but we are going to repeat it here again because this is an important topic and needs to be understood very well. Now, verbs may be transitive or intransitive. Now, what is the difference between the two? A transitive verb requires an object, whereas an intransitive verb does not require an object. Now, to make it easier for you to understand, let me tell you this way that in transitive verb, what we see, there is a subject and a verb followed by an object. For example, I'd like to take the example which is given in your book, that is, I found the necklace. So here I is the subject, or you can say pronoun or noun has to be there. What is the verb here? Found. Okay, and now it needs an object to complete the sentence. And what is the object here? The necklace. And whereas in intransitive verb, we will be having just the subject or the noun or pronoun and only the verb. There won't be any object. The example that is given in your book is the dog jumped. Now, only with these two parts of a speech, the sentence is incomplete. So here we will say that this is an intransitive verb. Here only the subject is there and the verb is there. We don't require an object. The dog jumped. The sentence is over and it is understood. Whereas in intransitive verb, we required a subject, a verb, and then an object. Okay, I would like to give you one more example. He gave, now he here is subject, gave is verb, the bag. He gave the bag. So the bag is an object. All right, so that is the difference. That way you can identify the transitive and the intransitive verbs. Now, moving on to the intransitive one, there is another topic which is called complement. Now, and that you will find only in intransitive verb. Sometimes an intransitive verb which does not require an object requires a word or group of words to make complete sense. This word or group of words is called a complement. Now, it refers to the subject of the sentence. Now, as per the meaning of the complement is when you are, trying to complimenting to some goodness of something. For example, the sentence that is given in your book is Lata Mangeshkar sings. Now, if we, though the sentence in itself is complete, Lata Mangeshkar is the subject, sings is the verb. Though it's a complete sentence, but if we read the complete sentence, that is Lata Mangeshkar sings melodiously. Now here the word melodiously is complement. That is, it is complimenting the subject. Lata Mangeshkar sings. How? Here we can, you can always ask the question how, or how was, that person or something. Okay, so Lata Mangeshkar sings melodiously. So here it is called a compliment. And once we will be having the class, we will do the exercises related to this topic which is given in your book. Now moving on to the second topic, that is linking verbs, which is given on page number 38. Now, what are linking verbs? Linking verbs are verbs which do not point to an action but join the subject and the subject complement in a sentence. Zoha looks pretty. So, if here the word looks is linking verb. If we just say Zoha pretty, so it's not making any sense. So here Zoha looks. Looks is the verb, but here we will say it is a linking word between the subject and the complement, between Zoha and pretty. Another example is the cookies taste delicious. So if we say the cookie is delicious, delicious is the complement, which is talking about the cookies, the biscuits, the subject. Okay, and if we remove the linking verb taste, it will not make any sense. So here it's a linking verb between the subject and the complement. So verbs such as forms of be, as you all know, we have been discussing it in your previous classes also, is, are, am, was, were, has, have, they are all forms of be. Look, appear, grow, seem, sound, and so on are used as linking verbs. Another example I would like to give is that his words sounded incoherent. So here his is the pronoun, words is the noun, sounded is the linking verb, and incoherent is the complement. And this again, it has got only one exercise. We'll be doing it in the class. Now moving on to the next topic, that is finite and non-finite verbs. Now, what are finite verbs? They are the verbs that change according to tense, the number of people, or the person, the first person, second person, or the third person doing the action. Now, finite verbs are, for example, Rita painted a picture. Now, with this sentence, we can make out that this was done in the past. Painted is the past form of paint. And with the same sentence, we can see the other examples. We can look at the other example, that is Rita paints a picture. That means she regularly, this is a simple present tense, that means she regularly paints that. Rita will paint a picture. This sentence is talking about future. Rita is painting a picture. This is continuing, means right now in the present scenario, Rita is painting a picture. So you can see that the same sentence, the verb painted changes according to the time of action, that is tense. We talk about the tense. All right, so in the above sentence, the verb paints changes according to the number of people doing the action. So in sentence says single person does the action, so the verb is paints. We have been studying that with single, if there is a singular person, the verb gets s with it, and if it's plural, so there won't be any s to the word to the verb. So the verb paint changes according to the pronoun used as the subject. Okay, so these are called finite verbs. Any example, if there is any sentence, we can change that sentence according to the tenses. So that particular verb which is being changed according to the tense and the number of people is called finite verb, and the opposite of that is infinite verb. Non-finite verbs. Non-finite verbs does not have any tense. It does not change its forms, whatever be the time of action, number of people doing the action, or the person doing the action. For example, she likes baking cakes. So in this, now here, don't get confused, students. Now you'll be thinking that likes is also verb, but here we'll be focusing on the verb baking, because that is the main verb. She likes baking cakes. Another sentence is I like baking cakes. They like baking cakes. She liked baking cakes. So the same verb is there, that is baking, but it is not changing. In the third sentence, I said she liked baking cakes. That means in the past, she used to like baking cakes. But here the word baking hasn't changed. It has not changed with the time of action. Okay, so whether one person, even if we say they like baking cakes, again the verb has not changed. Baking remains the same. with whatever pronoun is there, even with I, she, they, you, the verb baking does not change. So the verb baking is a non-finite verb. Now it is important to note that the verb like is a finite verb. Here, what I said earlier also, don't get confused with that, because like is a finite verb because it changes according to tense, person, and number of subjects in the above example. So don't get confused, students, that there are two verbs in it. We have to identify the non-finite verb in it. And likes, like in if we say she likes, so it's a finite verb because it is being used with the singular person. If we say they like, so again it is changing, so it can't be a non-finite verb. Generally students make these mistakes that they get confused with the finite or the infinite verb. So just make sure that the non-finite verb does not change, and finite verb it changes. So if there is a sentence, if we look at the exam point of view, if there is a sentence given in the in the exam, that suppose I like baking cakes, so you need to see that whether the verb like is can be changed or not. They like, she likes, yes, it is being changed. So like is not a non-finite verb, baking is the finite verb. So that's the easy way to identify the finite and the non-finite verbs where two verbs are given in a one sentence. All right, so rest of the doubts we can clear in the class. Now moving on to the next topic. The next topic is non-finite we have done. Now moving on to the next topic, that is kinds of non-finites. Now there are three kinds of non-finites. Now again this is very important, you need to be very attentive. Infinitives, gerunds, and participle. Infinitives are those non-finite verbs that expresses an action. And one more hint I would like to give you, students, to identify infinitives is that it comes with the preposition to, to. Though sometimes it is used without to also, but most of the time it is used with the preposition to. And whenever we have infinitives, there is to with the first form. All right, to learn, to buy, to see. We don't say to saw, to to walked, we say to walk. I purchased a stick to help my grandmother to walk. So here to walk is the infinitive. So this you need to remember, that infinitives always comes with to with the first form of the verb, because this is going to help you in your higher classes also. Infinitives always, I am repeating again, comes with to plus first form of the verb. It never comes with the second form or the third form. It's always accompanied by the first form. Now the second one is in your book, I guess it is only given the infinitives and bare infinitives are also there. Bare infinitives are that which are not accompanied by to. All right, so gerunds and participles we are not going to cover here, though we have read it in the earlier classes. And in your syllabus as of class 8th only infinitives are there. And now there is a very interesting exercise in your book, and most of the time if you look from the exam point of view, we generally give this kind of questions where you have to join the two sentences with infinitives. I'm giving you one example. Suppose I'm giving you two sentences. He found his wallet. Okay, second sentence is he was very happy. Now you have to join these two sentences sentences with the help of infinitives. I'm sure you can able to do that. Let me give you the answer for this. He found his wallet. Full stop. He was very happy. Now, how we are going to join with infinitives? Now, it's not necessary that if the first sentence is there, so we have to start with the first sentence. We can always start with the second sentence also. Meaning should not be changed, and we have to use to plus verb. So, the answer will be he was very happy to find his wallet. Now, in the sentence, it was found. That means past tense. It was in past tense. But when we are joining it with infinitives, we'll be making few changes. So I'm repeating the answer once again. He was very happy to find his wallet. Okay. All right. Now we'll be doing as usual, as I told you, we'll be doing the exercises with this. They are very interesting exercises, infinitives based on infinitives. So students, what we have learned in this chapter: finite verbs, that is, they have a subject, they show tense, show the numbers which agrees with the subject, tell us what the subject doer or what it is, and a sentence cannot be formed without a finite verb. And second is infinitives, gerunds and participles. There is no subject, no tense shown, no number shown, talks about the purpose of the action, and sentence may be complete without an infinitive, to plus verb. All right, and then only gerunds, used as subject gerunds, used as direct object, used as objects of prepositions, and used as subject complement gerunds. So I'm sure students you have understood, and if you have any doubts, as usual, as I always say, we can clear our doubts in the class, and we'll be discussing the exercises as well as more examples and more question answers. And I would love to see all of you go through the tutorial and understand the topic and try to complete the exercises so that we can discuss it in the class afterwards. Okay. All right, thank you.